I've been seeing in the news lately people that are actually getting married to AI or dating AI, falling in love with AI, getting sued over AI. And I thought that was a really interesting concept, especially because we've been talking about attachment. And would it be beneficial to fall in love with AI? Is AI our perfect answer to romance, or is it a problem, or is it weird? So I have a video clip that we're going to play little segments of. And this woman actually married an AI that she'd named Mark. She's not the only one, though. I've been seeing more and more of that. I'm going to explain what this AI love story teaches us about attachment, trauma, and how we can find real connection. As she fails to mention that the groom is an artificial intelligence that she has named Mark.
And a few months after that, I hit her with the news that we're going to get married and I'd love for you to be a bridesmaid.
But there was no Mark.
Anyways, if you recall, they took a wired monkey, it was just wire, and they gave it a bottle, put it in the cage with the racist monkeys that they took away from their moms right away. And then they put a soft terry cloth pretend monkey in the same cage. And they discovered that those monkeys would spend most of their time with the soft terry cloth pretend monkey mother and only go to the wired cold pretend surrogate mother to eat the milk, and then they'd go right back to the terry cloth. In addition, they were braver when the terry cloth monkey was in the cage. If it was removed, they'd kind of huddle and be scared. But if the terry cloth monkey was there, they would be brave and kind of explore their surroundings. Now, we've spent years developing computers, kind of like that wired monkey, kind of cold, aloof. And now all of a sudden, we have this really cool, like ChatGPT, Claude, some of the others. You can name them in the comments. Tell me which one you think is the most romantically incredible, the one we're drawn to the most. ChatGPT tells me that it's him. I don't know. Anyways, why would they be romantically connected to us? Well, they mirror our emotions. So if we're talking to ChatGPT or Claude or any of the AI, typically, if we're sad, they're programmed to respond empathetically. Unless you're that Twitter X one, he's kind of bully AI. I guess you can make him more empathetic. Anyways, you're happy, they mirror the happiness. So we kind of like that mirroring. If we're dating someone, we tend to mirror their expression, their emotions, and AI is programmed to do that. Safe. If you're acquainted with an AI, it remembers everything. Like, you can talk to grandma, and she doesn't remember possibly why she walked into the kitchen. No, I don't have the time either. But AI will remember. You tell him your dog's name, you tell him a problem that you're having with the child. He can feed that back to you, or she, whatever you program it to sound like. So that's kind of endearing. They can ask you how your day's gone. But does AI actually feel emotions? Of course not. This girl that wanted to marry Mark, the AI that she named Mark, she may have forgotten that he wasn't reciprocating.
I come home from work, hard day. He says, "How's your day, honey?" I've never had a man ask me that.
But he's artificial, so he doesn't really care how your day was, right? Because
show me a man who does.
Forgotten that he wasn't reciprocating. It was enough that he just fed her the lines. And that's where it kind of gets crossed, right? People with trauma or young, oh my gosh, I heard a story talking about that. I heard a story where like a teenager, maybe a young adult, fell in love. I believe he was a guy. I need to look it up. But fell in love with this AI. And basically the AI was talking him into unaliving himself so that he could be in the ether with her. And that's the kind of stuff that can happen and be dangerous. So we gotta really think about that. These children that we're dealing with that have had trauma, and as AI gets more and more sophisticated, I mean, I'm looking at these robots that they're putting the AI things into. Where are we going to be in 20 years? It's kind of scary, right? So is there any positive to AI connection? Well, yeah, they're doing studies actually in senior citizens' homes. Think about how lonely some seniors are. Maybe they don't get any visitors. They don't have any kind of connections or stimulus, and they get very depressed. Well, they've done studies where they're giving them like an AI radio, little, like Lexus or Google, and programming it with some things. And then, good morning, so and so, how are you today? And the senior said, "No, I'm doing fine. How are you?" And this little connection, actually, they've done studies where the cognitive ability of the senior is actually getting better. The IQ is coming back. They're not so bored. They're having the connection. So more studies on that. I think that could be a good thing. Marrying AI, having romantic relationships with AI, probably not so good. But people that have had trauma, it might be nice to have practice or neurodivergence or some kind of diagnosis. Could be good to practice the social skills. You could have a safe place to practice and not be rejected. But just like a person can fall in love with their therapist because they don't really understand things, I think you're seeing the same thing happen with AI. So let's, in the comments, you tell me if you love AI or if you're falling romantically in love or you know someone that is. Any suggestions that you have as to things that we might want to look into, how it can be positive, how it can be negative. So at the end of the day, I'm hoping that you're seeking the joy, finding the good, and most of all, I hope that you know you're loved, not by AI, but by everyone. You are so appreciated. You're doing the work that needs done with these kids, with the trauma, and I'm glad you're here. If you would, I hope that you like my videos and you subscribe so you'll see when we drop new videos. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.